Today on Sporting Journal Radio, it's the original guide boat for Mr. Walleye, Gary Roach. Then we'll go back to a 2015 tour of the Minnesota Fishing Museum with founder Al Barrett. Stick around. Broadcasting from the Tazen Lake Lodge studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio. How much direction are you getting from the governor?
It generates something like $2.4 billion.
The government closed the entire hunting season.
I don't know, maybe you didn't want me to tell the story on the show, but I'm going to tell it anyway.
I knew you were going to go there.
Hey, we got enough deer around here right now. Our country is in strange times. Every time we think we're on the rebound, something else comes along. It's easy to get caught up in everything that's happening and get discouraged. If I can offer up anything in this situation, I have two very important pieces of advice. Number one, slow down. It's easy to say, I'm right and you're wrong. Right now is a time to take a step back, breathe in, and just think twice about reacting. Use patience when posting on social media. We're all guilty of not doing that. Now, the second piece of advice is to go fishing. The Friday before Memorial Day, total sales of fishing licenses in Minnesota were up 26% from last year. That's before Memorial Day, when a lot of people kick off summer and start to go fishing even more. Now, how many of those were kids? This is a great number too. Not just kids, but just 16 and 17-year-olds was 20,469. Now that's up 69% from last year. So we've been asking the question, how do we get more kids involved in the outdoors? Clearly, we just have a world pandemic and pull them all out of school. It's also a great opportunity to do that this weekend. It's Take a Kid Free Fishing Weekend, June 5, 6, and 7. Fish for free. Minnesotans 16 and older who take a child 15 and younger don't have to buy a license. Now watch the ticker below for more news throughout this entire show today, and enjoy the Sporting Journal Radio Classic with Gary Roach and his original guide boat, and then the tour of the Minnesota Fishing Museum from 2015 with founder Al Barrett. Gary Roach, our guest here, Minnesota Sporting Journal Radio. I want to ask you a couple of questions that you've probably answered a million times, but I want to do it for our show. Tell me about getting into fishing.
Well, tell you, I quit high school at the 12th grade, and I didn't like the teachers, and they were so bossy, and I went to work in the woods, and it got so bad one winter, snow 4 foot, cutting logs and stuff, hauling logs out. So I joined the Navy, went to the Navy, and come back out of the Navy in 1959, married my wife Beverly. This was a place I took my wife down here, her first date, in a Little Falls ballroom, dancing polkas.
The place we're at right now for right Fishing
here,
with the Pros.
Right here. This is where my wife and I started, together. Yeah, right here. So and then I worked in a gas station. I hurt my back. Had my own gas station, but I'd look out and I'd see a beautiful day like this, and I said, "Oh man, I'm fish are biting on pelican." So my brother-in-law, he said, "Hey, why don't you go over to see the Marquette boys?" He said they get those guys catch a lot of fish over there, and you can catch fish. So I went over one day, and Marv can fill you up on the rest of the story. He handed me a green box. He said, "I'll go give it a try." So I went out there. I didn't have a boat. I had a motor, 7.5 horse motor. And I'd always hopefully get a big guy to carry the motor down. And I had a secret lake that had just filled with walleyes. I took Carl Lorenz and all my customers out there. And 45 minutes we'd have a limit of walleyes. 45 minutes we had 18 walleyes. There was so many fish in that lake. And then I got tired of carrying the motor down there, and then I got out one of these boats like some of the other guys. Marv ordered one for me, and they were $300 then.
They're a little bit more nowadays.
On 150 for the trailer, and I had a motor. I bought a motor, an 18-horse Johnson motor, and put on there. So that started my guiding career. And then, like I say, that boat's been over in McConaughey, Nebraska, Iowa, all over the country that boat has.
So this boat that we've got here tonight, this was the $300 boat?
This is my $300 boat, yeah. Now they're like $38,000 or something like that. The one I'm ordering right now is about $39,000.
Wow. You said when they pulled it out of the woods, it still had some of the original...
It had the Lindy Little Joe on the side of it, And then the decals, of course, they took all that stuff off. It was in bad shape. They tried to paint over it, see, what they tried to do, but it just garbaged it up. So they cleaned it all up nice and then sprayed it with glass and fixed the inside. I had the first live well again in a boat. First troll motor on the bow of ever, and had it really nice for fishing, And of course, the motor was old, and then the boat was 70, 70, 71, something like that. And about 75, I took it with my brand new Dodge pickup that I bought. Brand new, spanking new Dodge two-tone pickup for $2,400. Brand new. Nowadays they're $48,000 or $50,000, right? So the money ain't worth nothing. It's like we're living in Mexico here. I hate to say that, but that's the way this money is worth. But anyway, so then we started doing the aluminum boats, and now we got a big Pro V's that I helped with that. Well, the boys in London and all the other guys helped too. Get all the stuff, they're just unbelievable boats.
You were saying that this boat, your original boat that we've got here tonight, they spent a month and a half working on it?
All winter, off and on, all winter the guys did, And
who worked on it?
Davis knows the guy's name. I don't remember what his name is, but I wish he was here. I sure wish he was here because I would sure definitely give him the big. He did such a wonderful job on that boat. It looks so good. Looks like brand new.
Well, we'll have pictures of it at MinnesotaSportingJournal.com. We'll take some here tonight. Gary Roach, our guest, Minnesota Sporting Journal Radio. You look back on from 1970 to 2015. That's quite the career of being on the water. How have things changed? What's changed for the better? What's changed for the worse?
Well, everybody depends on electronics so much. They give you a number and you can go to that number, but you don't learn the bottom. See, and all the old timers and some of the better fishermen, they learn what's on the bottom because that's what attracts walleyes, is what's on the bottom. If it's rocks, if it's gravel, or if it's sand, or if it's weed beds. A lot of them figure it out, but a lot of them, still don't know. And there's a lot of guys out there that can catch fish all the time. There's a lot of guys that follow, and trying to learn how to catch fish. The only way you're going to become a better fisherman anywhere is lots of time on the water. I mean, lots of time. And all this new equipment and on the boats and motors and stuff, and you can push a button and the boat will anchor itself, the GPS and stuff. I just went on my phone. I was going to dial Lund up, and I hit Lance. Well, Lance is a friend of mine, and he comes on the line, and he said, "Hello." I said, "Who's this?" I said, "Lance." He said, "Who's this?" That's Gary Roach. He said, "Oh, man." He said, "How'd you get hold of me?" He said, "I'm just getting on an airplane. I killed 3 red stags over here in Argentina or someplace." I mean, can you believe this? I told my wife, Beverly, I said, "I just talked to Lance. He's over some country." This is what the modern day is, right?
Yeah.
But the walleyes, you still got to learn how to catch them.
Sure.
Same with crappies and bass and bluegills. And I started on the dock, and this morning, I was on the dock this morning catching limited bluegills.
Off the dock.
Off the dock.
Gosh, it's tough to be a beautiful day for it today, too.
It's great out there.
Just a minute left here with Gary Roach on Minnesota Sporting Journal Radio. What's your favorite lake to be on? Do you have a secret lake, or is it a lake that people know about?
Wherever they're biting.
Wherever they're biting. And then what do you, last question, is this one for real. What do you think about the Mille Lacs situation?
Well, one fish, it's in trouble. They've got to restructure that lake and the way they're doing things. That's they got to do something different. If the netting is hurting all the spawning walleyes, which I don't like to see. I did a couple days in the water down there with all the Indian kids, and took them out fishing on our boats and stuff. We had 10 guys, had 30-some kids. They had a ball. You can catch all the fish you want with hook and line. But that time of the year, it's just like shooting deer in the spring of the year with fawns in them, You got to let them do their thing, and hopefully they just need to do things that are different. I talked to a game warden this morning on the dock down in where I was fishing sunnies, and he agreed. He said they got to do something different.
Well, hopefully they get it figured out. Gary, thank you very much.
You bet.
Now, before I spent time at the Fishing with the Pros event last week in Little Falls, I had the chance to tour the Minnesota Fishing Museum and got a tour from founder Al Baird. Now, the next 5 minutes, he describes some of the unique items that the museum in Little Falls holds.
Here's a Hoffer lure. I've been working on this for 25 years. It was made by the Hoffer lure on West Lake Street in Minneapolis. Nobody all these pro fishermen have ever seen that lure.
Really?
Now, it shows a patent number on it. we contacted the patent office, and all they had was a patent on the feathers, not on the lure itself.
It's manufactured in Minneapolis, but it wasn't used around here?
Well, we tried. Nobody can tell me anything about it. And I've talked to a lot of people in 25 years. The director called and said, "Hey, Al, I've just delivered a coffin." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Looks like a coffin. It's big, it's long, it's got a handle on each end." I said, "What's in it?" She said, "I can't get in. There's 26 screws." So I drove up, took out 26 screws, opened it up, and here's this beautiful motor.
Wow.
And it showed it was used from 23 to 83 up here on Little Birch Lake.
A 1930 Johnson 4-horse. And that was in a coffin?
Well, it looked like a coffin, but it was a wood box that they had to spend $150 just to make the box, let alone shipping it. But you get the idea. It's just so, people are so generous and so trusting, because we're a 501c3, so we send them a receipt and they can write it off. I came home from the World War II, and this friend of mine, Louis Opat, said, "Come on, Al, I want to show you something. Look what I invented." This is the first trolling plate I ever seen. So you just adjust it like this, see? And if you want to troll slow. I told Louis, "You need to patent that." He said, "Oh, hell." He said, "It's just a barn hinge." And he never did patent it. And it was on this motor. This is a typical 1920, 1930 two-man cabin, size and equipment-wise. This even has my grandma's indoor plumbing.
The chamber pot?
Yeah. We had a lady standing where you are, and she wanted in there. And I said, "What do you want in here for?" She said, "To see the bathroom." And her husband said, "Right there." Well, she asked him how it worked. And when he told her, she walked away.
She didn't want anything to do with it.
You ever see that lure?
I've never seen that one.
You squeeze that, and you push the pin back. So when you're trolling for northerns, when the fish hits it, the pin slides forward and it hooks.
And there's hooks on the bottom and the top, so you're essentially hooking them on the top of the mouth and the bottom of the mouth.
Now, none of the people that's been here has ever seen that lure.
It's called the fish trap.
Yeah. In memory of Les Kuba, we recreated the dark house fisher. Dark house.
This is really neat, this diorama.
That's a 30-pound northern coming in. I bought that up at Perm Show about 7, 8 years ago.
I've never seen a fish mount quite like this before.
Oh, well, it was a wall mount, and
Sure.
I cut the tail off to get it to fit, and the inside of that is solid oak.
Oh, wow.
Everything's around. The part I was working on that cut the tail off was oak. But this is a fish house that was actually used on Sugar and Cedar Lake in Wright County by James Palman. To explain all this stuff, I could spend 5-6 hours with you. But like that trap is spring-loaded. It's illegal. You can't use it. It's just like the old clam that used to, you could touch it and they would close. Well, that thing, I think you could trap a bear with it. That's how hard that is.
That was Minnesota Fishing Museum founder Al Baer describing some of the more unique items that they have. Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. Hey anglers, looking for a destination where walleyes, fresh air, and fish fries are a way of life? Look no further than the famous waters of Lake of the Woods. From Badette and the Rainy River to the main lake up to the northwest angle. Here you'll enjoy the best walleye catch rate in the state. Maybe you'll pursue world-class sturgeon, pike, or muskie. Plus, you'll find lots of full-service resorts offering charter boats, delicious meals, and lots of Minnesota nice. Come experience the walleye capital of the world. Come experience Lake of the Woods. Catch the details at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. If trophy lake trout and monster northern pike are on your list this summer, book a trip to Tazen Lake Lodge in northwestern Saskatchewan.
Everything from numbers to big fish.
See pictures, videos, and more at TazenLake.com.
This is quite the fishery.
Our 5-star chef will feed you well after a day of chasing giants on Tazen Lake.
Dream come true.
Get rates, dates, and more of what you can expect
It could be the best fishing you've ever had in your life.
at TazenLake.com. That's TazenLake.com. Tazen Lake Lodge is a proud partner of Tourism Saskatchewan.